Pentagon faces intense scrutiny as casualty cover-up claims rock Washington and erode public trust in war reporting. A leaked report exposes the true cost of the Iran war, far exceeding President Trump's official admission significantly. Around 750 U.S. troops reportedly killed or wounded, raising doubts about CENTCOM incomplete battlefield accounting. Official tally remains frozen at just 15 dead, despite mounting evidence of heavier losses across active fronts. Underreported wounded cases and silenced losses keep America's true war toll hidden in deliberate shadows. Is the total human cost beyond 13,000 casualties? Dramatically beyond Washington's carefully managed disclosures. A growing controversy is unfolding over claims that the Pentagon has been underreporting U.S. casualties in the ongoing conflict with Iran. An investigation by The Intercept suggests the true scale of U.S. losses in the region is significantly higher than what has been officially acknowledged so far. The report claims nearly 750 U.S. troops have been killed or wounded in the Middle East since October 2023, including both combat and non-combat incidents. However, figures released by U.S. Central Command appear incomplete, raising concerns that Washington may be engaged in a form of casualty cover-up. For instance, a CENTCOM statement citing 303 wounded U.S. troops undercounts multiple recent attacks, including those involving Iranian missile and drone strikes on bases. CENTCOM has also not updated the official death toll of U.S. troops in this war, leaving the last confirmed figure at 15 with no clear explanation for the gap. Defense officials and independent analysts have criticized the lack of transparency, arguing it hides the full human cost of the conflict from the public and Congress. Jennifer Kavanagh said, and I quote, "CENTCOM and the White House should be providing accurate and timely information on the costs and casualties involved in this war. After all, it is American taxpayers who are funding it, and U.S. economic prosperity and economic well-being that is being undermined by it." The U.S. president has acknowledged that casualties are inevitable in any conflict, even as he continues to push for more aggressive military operations in the region. At the same time, Trump has signaled that the war could end within weeks, even though many of the stated strategic objectives have not yet been met. The conflict has seen Iranian missile and drone attacks on multiple U.S. bases across the Middle East, from Saudi Arabia to Jordan and Iraq. These attacks have exposed vulnerabilities in U.S. military infrastructure, particularly the lack of sufficient hardened shelters for troops and equipment. Critics argue the Pentagon failed to adequately prepare for such retaliation, despite years of warnings about Iran's growing long-range strike capabilities. The situation has forced some U.S. troops to relocate from exposed military bases to civilian locations such as hotels and commercial compounds. This shift has raised further concerns about the risk of civilian sites becoming de facto military targets in the event of additional Iranian strikes. Additional incidents, including injuries aboard the USS Gerald R. Ford, may not yet be reflected in the official casualty counts released by the Pentagon. Beyond uniformed troops, contractors working with U.S. forces have also reportedly been injured or killed in the course of operations. Official statistics show that almost 12,900 contractors were injured while working on U.S. base operations in 2024 alone. Analysts warn that if these contractor figures are added to the existing military casualty estimates, the total number of casualties linked to U.S. operations could exceed 13,000. In a strong message, U.S. President Donald Trump said the downing of a U.S. jet would not affect negotiations with Iran, according to NBC. Trump reportedly said the situation was war, and dismissed concerns that it would impact ongoing peace efforts. He also declined to share details about search and rescue operations for missing U.S. personnel. Earlier, Trump's national security team had briefed him on the downed U.S. fighter jet, NBC reported. The president was also receiving frequent updates on the ongoing search and rescue operation in Iran, according to the report. This comes as Iran claimed major air defense success, calling it a black day for U.S. and Israeli forces. Iran's Revolutionary Guard reportedly said it had downed U.S. jets, drones, and cruise missiles across multiple regions. Tehran also alleged it shot down 2 MQ-9 drones and destroyed a Hermes drone in key provinces. The US A-10 Warthog was also reportedly hit, with the pilot ejecting safely before the aircraft went down in Kuwait, NBC said. Earlier, Iran claimed it had downed an F-15E two-seater fighter jet, while one pilot was rescued by U.S. forces. Iran also said another U.S. jet was hit and later crashed into the Strait of Hormuz. Following the false claims of the US president about the complete destruction of Iran's air defense, a hostile American fighter jet in central Iranian airspace was engaged by a new, advanced air defense system of the IRGC Aerospace Force, operating under the control of the country's integrated air defense network, and was hit and destroyed. This fighter jet was completely shattered, and further search operations are ongoing. The warriors of the IRGC Aerospace Force, in step with the brave fighters of Yemen, in the 91st wave of Operation True Promise 4 in a joint action, struck and destroyed concentration centers of forces and military-industrial companies supporting the army of the Zionist regime in western Tel Aviv and the port of Eilat with long-range missiles. The IRGC Navy, in continuation of this wave, subjected military and infrastructural targets belonging to American Zionist terrorists in the countries south of the Persian Gulf to intense attacks using a large number of ballistic and cruise missiles and combat drones. In the second phase of this wave, the secret gathering place of flight engineers and pilots of American fighter jets outside enemy bases in the UAE was struck with ballistic missiles, inflicting considerable casualties on them. Given the terrorist actions of the criminal enemy and the assassination of citizens of the Islamic Republic of Iran, the espionage, information technology, and artificial intelligence companies that form part of the enemy's terrorist operations infrastructure were also targeted, the Hebrew space infrastructure of the American company Amazon and, simultaneously, the infrastructure of the American company Oracle based in the UAE was struck. From early this morning, the warriors of the IRGC Navy and Aerospace Force, in the 92nd wave of the subsequent True Promise 4 operations, launched several combined attacks on radar systems and naval equipment. In the first part of this operation, the concentration point of American amphibious vessels in the port of Ash-Shuwaik was smashed using ballistic missiles. In another part, the long-range R327 three-dimensional early warning radar located at the Jabal ad-Dukan radar site in Bahrain was hit and destroyed in a drone attack. Continuing these attacks, with the successful launch of a ballistic missile, the Ramat David Air Base in the southeast of Haifa was also targeted. In another section of the IRGC aerospace missile offensive, and in line with the tactic of sustained launches, using Khorramshahr missiles with multiple warheads, more than 50 points in the heart of Tel Aviv and the occupied territories were also effectively struck. The Army of the Islamic Republic of Iran, in response to US Army attacks on the country's infrastructure, from this morning has targeted equipment depots and accommodation sites of American terrorists in Jordan, the location of US armored forces in Arif Jan, Kuwait, and the largest aluminum factory in Bahrain with its combat drones. The defenders of our country's skies in the Army and the IRGC shot down several cruise missiles in central and western regions, and 2 attacking drones in the southern regions of the country. Also, an advanced enemy fighter jet was hit south of Keshem Island and crashed between Hengam and Keshem Islands, sinking into the depths of the forever Persian Gulf waters.